called pulse oximeter are typically clipped on your fingertip. A standard version sends both red and infrared red through the finger, with lots of blood close to the surface. A protein in the blood absorbs more infrared light when it has oxygen, and more red light when it doesn't. A sensor on the other side of the finger calculates how much of each type of light travels through, providing an oxygen reading. The Apple Watch Series 6 also has red infrared lights, but instead of sending that light through a body part, it measures the light for reflection. It's the same strategy used by Anagram and Jig, which already have similar blood oxygen features, but the reflection method, the risk, may be less accurate, especially when oxygen levels start to drop, according to some research. The magic of fresh start. One of the biggest obstacles to sticking with a habit change, a new system, a goal, or a long-term project is that we get disrupted. Something interrupts our progress. We set workout today. Some program in our brain that that's how we want to go to that. We can't do it. We should just give up. This stops so many people are making long-term progress. It stops us from simply starting again. This is because most of us don't realize the power and magic of fresh start. A fresh start is when we get to start with a blank slate. It's waking up to a brand new morning with a day waiting to use however we want. When we master few days of meditation or eat junk or wait because of every celebration or fall off from reading our book, instead of making that to me that this whole thing is a waste of time and that is somehow sad, we can look at it as a fresh start. I'm not simply reframing things to be positive. There's a lot of power available to us in a fresh start that missed out now. A fresh start is magic. We can see the happy project with fresh eyes, as if we've never seen it before, and bring a sense of wonder and a curiosity to what we're doing. There's a sacredness letting everything go from the past and just showing up in the new moment. We can learn something from the past failure or disruption and use this new start as a way to get better face difficulty armed with new information, so that every fresh start becomes a new opportunity to learn, grow, get better on something. We get to reinvent ourselves, reinvent what takes on, reinvent what we want our lives to be. We can recommit and remind ourselves of why we're committed to this. This is all missed when we ignore the magic and the power of fresh stuff. The beautiful thing is that fresh stuff is available to us. Not only we get disrupted or stumble, but in every moment, every day, every new meditation or workout work session, every new meeting with someone, every new conversation, every new breath. In my 40s, I'm going to worry less and enjoy life more by having that. In May, I turned 40. My partner, Kai, and I planned a trip to Europe to celebrate. Instead, in lockdown, he ordered takeout and he now keeps dressed up, set the table, lit candles, and waited on me as we were in a restaurant. On the wall behind me, a sign said, "Happy 40th birthday, Hillary," in rainbow colors. The color which homeschool entire workshop set up a case with enormous piece of paper and something. They even made my name into a acrostic form. Hilarious, imaginative, loving, amazing, resolute, yet mom. The mail had helped with our birthdays don't usually bother me, but I had a lot of anxiety leading up to 40. It seemed like an age which I would know what I was doing, and instead, I failed to achieve most of my goals, both large and small. I did not become a professor. I'm still on a term contract at my job with Canada. I'm on chapter 4 of a book I've been wanting to write for years. I can't touch my toes without bending my knees. I've never been able to do a cartwheel. One time I met 20 years ago in a tree planting camp in northern Ontario. He was in Canada in summer and spending the winters in Guatemala. He had built a small house there and thought he might stay, live the expat life. Instead, after we got together, he went back to school, got a master's degree, found a real job, and got promoted. Time never feels like a failure. He had no grand idea what to do with his life, and it turned out better than expected. How social media made jump shot. When Richard Branson, a serial entrepreneur, was 28, he snapped up by Caribbean Island to impress a woman. In London, he hobnobbed with the flag staff and posed for a photograph for the bag, naked save for a well-positioned copy of the Financial Times. Now the same age, Ben Francis made more money than the young Mr. Branson had, but the Bromley founder of the gym shop and the athletic clothing brand Goldheart less gamble. His black and gray outfit matches his HQ. When he isn't working his lifting weight, messing around with multiple or eating mandals. That's literally all I do, he said. I'm a really boring person. But the man shall look at him now for capturing his access. Mr. Francis founded a gym shop for his parents' garage in 2012. Making gym gear his grandmother taught him to sew. On August 14, General Atlantic, an American fundamental, bought a 21% stake on the firm. In the deal, the value is more than £1 billion, $1.3 billion. That transformation makes remarkable business story, but it also reveals how quickly gym culture is changing the rich world. But man's early success could not demand like Miss Francis. When he first started going to gym at 16, he found it intimidating. You have no idea what you're doing. You think everybody's looking at you. You feel really self-conscious. Am I doing myself right? So he turned to YouTube and online forums for tips. His business milks this merging physical and online spaces. The 125 influence gym shop pays domestic restaurant and platforms like Instagram are role models, fashion models. Have you thought encouragement? Mr. Francis once thought. Instagram provides motive as well as means. Masculine and tight-fitting gear attracts envy as well as romantic attention. Juggling the balls, be gentle with ourselves by having a worker. I send out emails to young girls in the hope to help them remember their schedule and get to class real soon. All this while I work to get the student on the screen, managing the assignment ideas, and some of the good learning and how they feel about the process. When target students checking, I actually thank them for reminding me that all of us can make mistakes, for helping me feel not so bad about my own email nonsense. I seek to bless the day and I but human. in a world that seems to challenge us to be superhuman. First, juggling at all, then pass ball after ball, and expect to put them all in air at the same time. Through my long nights, I hear the balls are dropped. The times are made that be there for my students. The imposter and what is my colleagues, intimidated by every technical hook, each seems to master with ease. I searched through the juggles and dropped balls, and looked to see the individual young person, whose work is infinite, whose effort is extraordinary, and you just can't quite put all the balls in the air. I work to just support them in the effort. I caution myself, my colleagues, and requested to be gentle with ourselves and appreciate how well we are doing, despite how much we feel that we should be doing even more. Delegate but don't abdicate by Derek Service. Delegation doesn't come naturally to any of us, but I was trying really hard to be good at it. I knew how important it was to get into the delegation mindset. I was trying to empower my employees to let them know that they can make everything on their own without me. When they asked, how should we organize all the rooms in the office? I said, any way you want to do is fine. When they asked, which health department we go with? I said, you guys choose. Take a vote. Whichever one you choose, I'll pay for. When they asked, which profit team should we go with? I said, you guys choose. Whatever you think is the best. A local magazine voted CDB the best place to work in the state wagon. 6 months later, my accounting clerk said, did you know that you can set up a profit program? I said, yeah. Why? He said, did you know that giving all of the profits of the company back to themselves? Oops. When I canceled the profit sharing program and became a very unpopular guy. In our weekly company meetings, the general message from the employees was, we need to get Derek out of here so telling what to do. We don't need the answer to him. He needs the answer to us. Then I realized that there's such a thing as over-delegation. I have empowered my employees so much that I gave them all the power. After complete communication breakdown, it was 85 people, my employees, against one, me. I have become scapegoat for all of the dissatisfactions. I thought of trying to repair a relationship with each of the 85 employees. Our 100 partners. But if you ever had a romance breakup, you know that sometimes it's beyond repair. So I consider firing a area and hiring a whole new group. I also consider shutting down the company entirely, since I wasn't enjoying this anymore. I even considered really welcoming. I put 5 golden tickets and 5 CDs and gave the company to some lucky funders. In the end, I did all stuff for my cousin. I retrieved under solitude. Today I'm a friend house in London and focused entirely on programming submitting new software future to CD business. I never saw spot to my employees again. Never saw the office again. I learned important word, ability. To ability means to surrender or relinquish power or responsibility. This was usually used when a king abdicated the throne owner a crown. Lesson learned too late. Delegate, but don't abdicate. America by Claude McKay. Although she fed me bridal witness, and since to my throat to tiger's feet, stealing my breath of life, I will confess. I love this culture held that has my youth. A bigger flows like tides in my blood, giving me strength around to hate. A bigness breaks my being like a flood. At the arrival from Screening state, I stand within her walls with not a thread of care, malice, not a word of fear. Darkly I gaze into the days ahead, and see her might and grand wonders there. Beneath the touch of time's unerring hand, like crossless chariots sinking in the sand. The learning of bilingual battle. There's so much to learn in the happy step, in all other difficult motivation and focus. How to face difficulty instead of avoiding it. How to encourage yourself when you feel discouraged. How to let go of the idea you have that's making you feel discouraged. How to deal with your difficult emotions of frustration, discouragement, fear. How to nourish yourself when you're feeling depleted. How to give yourself compassion when you feel you're doing something wrong. How to not run for your usual methods of control, avoidance, hating when things are off. How to practice letting go of your usual focus on your self-concern. This is just some of what's there, so much more. It's incredibly rich if you learn to open up to the depth. The dip is temporary if you keep going. Habit and motivation depths are always temporary. Everyone who is running a marathon or ultra-marathon knows what it's like to want to take, to get bored with training, to feel discouraged when things are hard. And so many of us who face that have finished the marathon. We all give up when things discourage. We already even thinking about getting back on track when you've been thrown off the track. We've all messed up on projects and goals in habits. We are human. But if we get back on track, if we encourage ourselves when things are dark, if you find compassion for ourselves when we're not living up to our made-up ideals, there's more available down the road. Everything is temporary, even failure, even success. Even getting off track. These are not the end points, they are waypoints. Keep going, keep going, keep going. About Dana. 美国7个wonder and advent. In 2019, we set out to pave the way for new travel experience. What if you could bring a hotel room with you? How much stress will be avoided if you could book a hotel and a car and a restaurant reservation? How would it change travel if you had the ability to make and change plans on the fly without canceling reservations? And could we really design a camper van that is as good or better than hotel room? The design philosophy is the core of our brand promise. Simple. We made complicated systems easy. It should take you 20 minutes to learn how to use every electron reward system. Smart. small space get cluttered quickly, and people travel with luggage. We design storage solutions to keep your stuff neat and tidy to free up more space. Cloud. Every challenge is an opportunity. We did set up just okay. The same high-end amenities used in such formal hotel rooms are packed in a smaller space without sacrificing comfort. For media, no speed learning curricula. Is your drawing more like a car and talk like a tree? The backup cameras must reliable. You're here for the experience. Your trip shouldn't be interrupted by a broken system with the power being out. Each van is serviced and sanitized to ensure consistent experience. Our team works 24/7 for intake needs. Automate. We want to put trip planning back in your hands. This is why we developed the countless checking process and prioritize the accessibility. We know that good stuff can happen on the fly. We all have hidden prejudices. Here's how to override them. Confronting and unconscious biases requires concerted effort. Fortunately, there are simple things everyone can do to avoid the cognitive shortcuts that are undependent by program at the wall. We are still getting to grips with the most effective ways to identify and address bias. What is clear is that it's a difficult task that requires concerted, consistent effort, but there are strategies that make a difference. Our first step is to make biases visible. This includes taking the implicit association test to raise awareness, but this needs to be complemented by active reflection, including recognizing triggers for bias and examining how a life experiences have shaped biases. Research shows that using blind or anonymized may help weaken biases cognitive or material remain. One study found using blind auditions increased the likelihood that a winning musician will hand an orchestra by up to 46%. Research in France, Germany, Sweden, and the Netherlands has shown that removing names for applications increases the likelihood that candidates for minority groups will be invited to interviews. We can tackle generalized assumptions by being clear that a particular attribute is associated with an individual, like the photograph. For example, this boy is a good man. This approach can help to diminish stereotypes and the pressure to conform to. Taking our time with important decisions can also help cognitive shortcuts that perpetuate bias. When this is impossible, hasting reactions to high-stress situations can help prevent bias-snap decisions. Research with the police has shown. How Do You Brace Yourself? By Derek Service. In New York City, there are dozens of buildings that say Trump on them. I was driving about an hour into the wild countryside. I even saw Donald J. Trump Park. It made me wonder if he graced himself by how many valuable properties bear his name. Plenty of realistic tycoons made billions without putting their names on everything. But maybe that is matter. We all grade ourselves by different measures. For some people, it's as simple as how much money they make. When net worth going up, they know doing well. For others, it's how much money they give. For some people, it's how many people's lives they can influence for the better. For others, it's how deeply they can influence just a few people's lives. For me, it's how many useful things I create by the songs, companies, articles, websites, or anything else. If I create something that's not useful to others, it doesn't count. But I'm also not interested in doing something useful, and that needs my creative input. How you grade yourself? It's important to know in advance to make sure you're staying focused on what's honestly important to you, instead of doing what others think you should.